We are live from Raiders headquarters. Welcome to the Bricklayers. Everybody who's out there, thank you. Good day today, man. Good day today. The draft pick today, good question, Snow Raider, Monday, because we're buried with this Niners deal here today. So we're going right into the top 10. Because we had Todd Marinovich yesterday, which was good. We're going to dive into the top 10 on Monday, and then we'll knock it out before the start of the year. I will say that we'll have a baker's dozen instead of a top 10. They'll be the 12 most influential Raiders draft picks of all time. All right. As always, subscribe, please. Hit the subscription button. We're going to have Jason Horowitz in studio. We should have Eric Allen or Rich Gannon. A lot of guys are going to come in here today in studio because they're all here, including Baron Davis. I was very humbled today. Baron Davis came up to me, gave me a big hug, and he remembers me from the days of Oakland Warriors basketball, 1888 GSW hoop. Hello, Fabian. Yes. All right, Bobby, let's do a radio show. Let's get my voice warmed up. I am not an opera singer, but my voice in the summer, because it's so dry, is just done, man. Done. I did get breaking news today. I'll be on Mad Dog Sports Radio 3 nights a week during football season, which is kind of the max I could do. I can't do any more than that. So I'll be on Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, along with 5 shows here, podcasts, and a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
You want to wait till you're in a break?
Yeah, I'll do the open. I'm going to play Pete Carroll.
Okay.
And then I'll be from 20 after. I'm good to go.
So tell Paul like 20 after?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Yeah, so we're ready? Yeah.
Players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And now, here's JT.
Out of the gate, JT, as we are live from Raiders headquarters. A nice audible today. Wasn't planning on being here. I showed up and they said, can you do the show here today? Because we got everybody in the building. All of our talent are here. Tonight is our Academy Awards dinner for all the people that work for the Raiders on the media side. So we're really excited about that. So Rich Gannon's here, Matt Millen's here, Amber Theoharis is here. Baron Davis, I got a cool story to tell you. He's here. Kirk Morrison, the great Lincoln Kennedy. They're all in the house tonight. We got a big dinner we're going out to tonight to get loose and have a good time. And then it's alumni weekend as the alumni are here. Just came off the field for Raiders practice against the 49ers. I'll let our guests talk about it. The same old thing. Thought it was good. I saw some big takeaways that I'm going to get into. Some other things that you might want to talk about if you were here at practice. I got something new I want to talk about here, and I'm excited to put it in the monologue. Brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue 5 to 7, midnight to 2. You know the program, the best happy hour in town as we kick off from headquarters, partnered up with Golden Entertainment. Trey Tucker and the deep ball. That's my takeaway today in the monologue. They've been taking shots, and Trey Tucker got a couple of big bomb touchdown receptions again today. I've seen him do it in practice against his teammates. Okay, that's pretty cool. to do it against the 49ers, fantastic. Trey Tucker, to me, is an MVP of the 2025 Las Vegas Raiders training camp. I told you, Aiden looked unbelievable when the camp started. Unbelievable. Forget about the game. I'm talking about practice, right? Max is Max. Take Max out. Max today, I wish Trent Williams played more. The future Hall of Famer, tackle, but he wasn't involved with a lot of the drills there, but they were chirping at each other. But, George Kittle caught a couple of big passes. The Niners caught a couple of touchdowns. But I'll tell you this much. Trey Tucker now, there is no excuse for him not having multiple deep ball touchdowns this year. All they got to do is hold the line of scrimmage and throw bombs to him. Not all the time, but a couple of times in a game. And he will catch the ball over the defenders. And if you throw it in the red zone, he'll go get it. That's what I'm really excited to talk about today. Trey Tucker, I believe, has had one of the best camps, period, because he is explosive every time I look at him. I was with a bunch of people on the sidelines as he got loose a couple of times deep. The ball comes out beautiful from Geno. And look, we've had Jack Besh won yesterday, right? He had a great practice yesterday. Dante Thornton has had some good practices. Alex Bachman has played well. The receivers have been playing, I think, pretty good in camp. Last year in Costa Mesa, it was an epic disaster because every ball got batted down at the line of scrimmage or the quarterbacks didn't play well. Not the case with Geno. Geno is letting it fly to Trey Tucker. So we'll see what happens. The game's going to be different. When it's real, it's going to be different. I also want to share a couple of conversations I had today. After practice, I went out on the field, and he was by himself, Jackson Powers Johnson. I walked right up to him and said, Raider Nation has your back. And he said, I appreciate it. I said, I've been doing this a long time. A lot of people are talking about you, and a lot of fans have your back. And he said, thanks, JT. Appreciate that. That was it. No, are you going to play more? What do you think? He was great. After practice, I just wanted to reach out to him and tell him that. My most important conversation today, other than with the owner, who I was able to say hi to for a little bit, was John Lynch, who is the general manager of the 49ers. Quick story. When I got married over 25 years ago, I swam up to a pool bar in Hawaii, like a movie. It's unbelievable. Palm trees everywhere, pool bar. And I'm swimming up to the pool bar. Yes, I was the captain of my swim team. And as I swam up to the pool bar to order a cocktail, John Lynch was swimming up to the pool bar. He was married the same day as me and had the honeymoon. He was on his honeymoon. I was on my honeymoon. Whenever we see each other, we bring that up. And I told John Lynch, it was in the Raiders weight room. I said, John, I just want to congratulate you on all your success. And I said, I just can't believe the level of players you continue to bring in on defense and how they run downhill. And he said, thanks, man. He goes, we look for a certain style of player, and that's the type of player we want. So I'm a big fan of John Lynch. I am. He's a really good guy, and I go back with him, quarter century. So it's nice to talk to him for a little bit. And it was interesting. It's always weird being in this building with another team. So the Niners are walking around, and the Niners are in the weight room. And there were no fights. There was a little couple of pushing and shovings after plays, but no fights. Everything seemed to be pretty good. Kyle Shanahan got his team down here, even though they're banged up, and a lot of guys weren't able to play. I talked to Vic Tafer for a bit. He's covering the Niners here. He covered the Raiders for a long time. It was nice to catch up with him. And then Baron Davis shows up, and he comes up to me, and he's like, JT. And we go back to Oakland. He remembers me from his days playing for the Oakland Warriors, 1888 GSW Hoop. And we had a nice conversation. I'm going to be seeing him tonight at dinner as he's going to be hosting Talk of the Nation. I think we're going to have him here today. So if you want to watch the show, we're live on YouTube at JT the Brick, my own channel, JT the Brick YT. You can subscribe for free, and you can see some of our guests here. And I think we have the nicest broadcast radio podcast studio in all of sports. And you're not going to see it unless you watch and click on the camera and see what we're doing here. One more other thing, too, when it comes to, people who are around, Jason Horowitz, Lincoln Kennedy, Eric Allen, who's doing the broadcast today. I hope you watched the YouTube stream with Amber, Theoharis. They did a nice job today, too, But on a serious note, the highlight of my day was my wife and my two sons came to practice. And it's the first practice and probably the last one they'll come to this year. And we got a photo of them. And we've been taking photos at training camp since my sons were born, before my youngest son was born. So we were able to do that today. And that meant a lot to me because we'll put that up in our collage at home of all the camps that we had. And, my sons were looking around and watching practice and talking to Eric Allen and Lincoln Kennedy, gave him a big hug. And that's really important to me. The Raiders have treated me like a family for a long time. And I really feel it on days like today. And today was very special to be out here at camp. It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. Mark Davis built a whole bunch of shade and canopies for everybody. Plenty of water, Gatorade. It's all there. Food trucks. Haven't tried the food trucks, but there are a lot of food trucks out there. And to me, this isn't the end, but it's close to the end. This today was the last practice that you're going to see against another team, the first and last. I think both teams looked okay. I talked to Matt Mayoko, who is the great writer and insider for the 49ers, and we went through the depth chart. A lot of those guys are hurt. Niners got an easy schedule. They're going to need it. I think the Niners right out of the gate play Seattle, if I'm right. Niners are going to have some guys on the field week one, and they're going to be kind of a mash unit. Guys that are going to be able to play, but they're banged up. I saw the Pro Bowler Kyle Juszczyk catch a touchdown, getting behind the Raiders' deep part of the field, which was a little bit concerning. Caillou Kelly is playing well. Darian Porter out there. Jermaine Pratt. I saw Kittle go up against Pratt, and Pratt knocked the ball or grabbed the ball. It wasn't an interception, but he stopped Kittle. They're not tackling to the ground, but they were rapping today, which was good. And, my conversation with Rich Gannon, I talked to Rich on the field, mostly private, about what he thinks. So I'm not going to put words in Rich's mouth. But one of the things that I brought up to him, and he agreed with me, is the Raiders got to get going here with the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. It's a really important thing I'm about to say. The Raider offensive line has got to move people. They've got to move people. They've got to jump off the snap, not jump off sides, put their hands on people and move them backwards so Ashton Jeanty can hit a hole. In 11 on 11, Ashton Jeanty had a 20-yard run. I think it probably would have been a 25-yard run before he went out of bounds. But what we want to see with Ashton is we want to see Ashton be able to hit the line of scrimmage with a hole, not be stopped at the line of scrimmage and have to break outside like Barry Sanders because the holes aren't open. You get what I'm saying on that? It's very important what I'm telling you. Because who was I with? Jason Horowitz or Mike Taylor, veteran of the Raiders and media. We're going to see how good this offensive line is week one. We're not going to see it before that. We're really not going to see a lot against the 49ers and Arizona. So do you believe, and that's the call for today, if you want to call in, 702-365-9200. Do you believe that this team can run block? I think their pass protection is going to be fine. Everything I see in regards to pass protection and Geno and what they're doing with their scheme looks pretty good to me. A lot of guys have been open, catching the ball and moving the ball downfield. I'm not concerned yet about pass blocking. I'm a little bit concerned about the run blocking because I can't tell if they're going to be good at it or not. This is not Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. This is not Jim Otto and Dave Dalby. Okay? This isn't Lincoln Kennedy, Barrett Robbins, and Frank Middleton. It's not. And in order for them to play well, I'm a big believer of run behind Colton Miller. Colton Miller is our best offensive lineman. He just got a huge contract extension. Run behind Colton Miller and Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham's a nasty dude. He is. Dylan Parham can be a bad man. But Jordan Meredith and Jackson Powers Johnson, I'm not sure about that yet, and nor are you. And I don't think Pete Carroll is sure about it yet, but I think he's encouraged by the play of those guys. All right, enough of me. We got Pete Carroll. I always say when the coach speaks, it's more important than me. So we have a bunch of interviews from today, a bunch of live interviews here in studio. Let's begin the show with the head coach of the silver and black right after practice, what he said at the podium.
Exactly what I was thinking. Heck, I don't have any idea right now. I'm watching offense. I'm watching defense. I got to see the film. I know everybody works hard. It was great to get against these guys. They're skilled and they do a lot of cool things scheme-wise. It attacks us and help us learn. And so it was a totally positive experience. I thought Kyle did a great job of managing their team, and we tried to do the same so that we didn't get issues and all that. We avoided all that kind of stuff. So it's just really classy work to get, and we'll make evaluations and figure that out once we get a chance to watch the film as soon as I leave here. I mean, he felt like he got hit in the head a little bit. I didn't think it was serious, but then they just make sure. Yes, that's exactly what we both sides. I know Kyle did the same thing. Want to make sure that that's not part of what we're doing. It's not part of what we come here to do. We come here to play good football and get better. And I think both sides did a great job of showing that. Those guys. I can't tell you. I haven't seen it enough. Now I was running back and forth. I can't tell you. I have no evaluation, but I see the film.
See, a chance to take a deep
really good stuff. I mean, we're blowing them off the football. They can't make an inch. That didn't quite happen. I know that. But I want to see us execute. We try to treat this as like it's the next opportunity that we have and do stuff right. And that was what we set out to do. We'll find out. I thought on defense, the perimeter looked kind of available to them. They do that. They're a great perimeter team. We've not prepared for them at all. We got a day to get a little bit better football game.
That's always well coached. And how good of a challenge is that for you to see a team kind of blindly and be able to react?
Robert Sala and Gus Bradley's over there, and Kyle has done a great job for years and years. They've got a terrific group, and that's only what we would expect from them. They know what they're doing. They have control of their groups. They have style of play that always shows up. So that means they've got a real philosophy in mind and all that. So that's why this is such quality work for us.
So many great wide receivers, but Jacoby just makes plays every day. He's not a prima donna. Would you talk about how fortunate this team is to have a Jacoby type?
Yeah, he's so sure-handed, so steady, so improvisational that he can get himself open. With he and Brock, it's tough to cover those two guys, and so they complement each other in a great manner. But Jacoby's done a fantastic job every day we coming out here. He's making plays.
How much more plays started Saturday? You only have 3 opportunities.
Everybody's live. Everybody's live.
Caillou Blue Kelly has been making a move, I guess, on the.
I'm glad you noticed it because I'm noticing it too. He's had plays every day for about the last 5 or 6 days out here. Mock game 2. He's just been really active. Seems like he's really settling in, and his aggressive style of play has really shown up. So I'm fired up for him. If you notice, I don't know if it happened today, but yesterday he got work with the ones, and just to see how he fits in and all of that. Just a great example of a guy competing his butt off and trying to make a statement.
And in his case, he's somebody that kind of started on the third team, and all of a sudden now he's up with the ones. That's sort of what if you show us what we need to see.
You're either competing or you're not. That's what he's doing. He has embraced the thought, and he's battled every day, and he's shown that he deserves more of an opportunity. And so that's all we could ever ask for from our guys.
As a wrap up for Saturday, how much of this practice today, what did you get as a main takeaway from it that you want to carry over to Saturday?
I got to see the film. Okay, I really don't know. But I would say that we want to make sure that things that we didn't do well today, we like to do them well on game day.
Which is kind of a silly question, but San Francisco related. I read in an old article that you once saw Grateful Dead at the Fillmore. Is that true, or have you ever gone to a Grateful Dead concert?
Probably 20 times. Yeah.
What do you remember?
They were the second and third and fourth bands back in the day at Avalon Ballroom in Winterland and Fillmore. So we saw them a ton of times. He's done really well. I mean, quick learner, just picks stuff up right off the bat. He's right now battling to play a lot. And that means he's going with ones quite a bit. He deserves to. He's already shown that. I'm really excited about our chance to get him here, and he's an amazing kid. I can't wait for you guys to talk to him, to hear from him. He's really something. Well, what I would tell you is I don't know that they're that difficult for games. I haven't done it for 14 years. And so last time I did it was when the Jets went against Joe Gibbs some little college out there on the East Coast. I didn't know what it was. So it's been a long time. I feel the way we practice is beneficial for us, but I did this because it's Kyle and it's the Niners. And at one time we were thinking about going to Napa. It just sounded like a good idea. Whether we do it again, I don't know. I'll let you know later. Well, it's. Did you grow up in the Bay? You said that like you grew up in the Bay Area also. No, that's not what you meant, though, right? Okay. Yeah. It's always been something. It has always. Since I was 14 or whatever the heck when they got going with the Raiders. My family was Niner fans. The whole family grew up in San Francisco and all that, and so it's always just been a natural rivalry. I've never had it like the Raiders were the bad guys or the Niners were the bad guys. I like both teams growing up, so to have a chance to do this, it's kind of fun. And to play them in the preseason, kind of fun. I like it.
Story you told me about Bill Wilson, how to be a good teammate with each other. Are you starting to see that grow among the team, especially as you have a day like this?
Without question. Yeah, without question, our awareness of our roles, each person has a role to be a great teammate. And they get to do that on a regular daily basis. Bill said that he wakes up every morning with the thought of what can he do to help somebody on his team be better? You know, and talking about Havlicek, Kazi, or all the guys that he played with, Sam Jones, he was talking about how what could he do to help him play better? And when Bill said that to me, I said, you gotta be kidding, man. Come on, the whole team's there, you know. Are you kidding? Not every day. He said, every freaking day. And so I challenge my guys from that moment on. If he can do it every day, maybe you can do it a couple times a week, and we'll work our way up to be like Bill. Yeah, I think it's really important. I wish we had more. I wish we could entertain more and be out there even more. That connection is just part of this whole experience. They help us play better. We help them cheer more. So there's a synergy there that I've always entrusted and want to respect and give it back to them. It's great that they're here today.
Yeah, that was Pete Carroll confirming that he's seen the Grateful Dead 20 times and he saw him at the Fillmore. Wow, that was my big takeaway there. I love the Grateful Dead. I've seen the Grateful Dead over 20 times, not at the Fillmore, but I saw him at Saratoga, one of the greatest nights of my life. How about that? That was really cool. Pete Carroll, he didn't see anything that he could confirm because he's coaching 3 fields. So everyone's asking him, what'd you see about this? What'd you see about the push? What'd you see about, he didn't see it. He's like going from side to side. He'd like more of a push up front. I think we're all aware of that. So we'll see what happens there. Pete Carroll is going to look at the tape and his coaches are going to come to him and tell him who won every drill, every battle. So the Raiders have coaches and other members of the staff who carry around sticks with cameras on them and everything's filmed. And then as soon as practice ends, if not before, all of the film is cut up for all the positions and all the players and all the coaches. And then they're able to go over every piece of film on every portion of practice. So that's what the coaches are doing now. After they have lunch, they have a quick meeting, they go to their offices, they go to meetings, and they're looking at the film cut-ups. And then they're able to say, well, you didn't have leverage on this play. Your footwork wasn't right on this play. Let's work on this tomorrow. But I don't want to say it was, it just seemed like it was a nice practice. I think if I've looked at 3 or 4 Niner beat writers or people that follow the team. Matt Mayoko, I talked to Tim Ryan today. I talked to a couple people. By the way, I got an update on Greg Papa, and he's in a really big fight. Former voice of the Raiders, the voice of the Niners. He is in a very big fight for his health, so we wish him well. And it was really nice to catch up with Tim Ryan, who's the color analyst on the radio. We go back a long time together, worked together 25 years ago. He's really good at what he does. But you just heard Pete Carroll. We got sound from Max Crosby and others. So they just told me to make room here in the studio. We could have Eric Allen and Baron Davis together. We have Jason Horowitz, the voice of the Raiders, confirmed. Paul Gutierrez from Raiders.com confirmed. So we got all this lined up for you. Join us as we continue on here. We're excited. We are live from training camp, brought to you by Modelo. Modelo is a proud partner of the show, the fighting spirit of Modelo. How great does a Modelo taste today when it's 109, dripping wet? I like to have it in my backyard brick. I like to have them on a Friday on ice, but it's Thursday, and they don't allow me a bucket of Modelos in the Raiders podcast studio, nor would I ever push that envelope. But I'm at the home studio. The home studio, you might want to get one on a Friday, or maybe heading into the last segment. Modelo, proud partner of our show. We'll see what we got lined up next. I'm going to jump in the chat and talk to everybody in the chat here. Got over 500 people who are watching live on YouTube and Twitter combined, and we're going to grow that number. So one day we have a monster show of video and radio, and we can tie it all together. Live from Raiders headquarters, JT, the joint practice between the Niners and the Raiders. Yeah, so we'll play it by ear. Paul's here now, so we'll get Paul after the break. Yeah. Hello, Paul. How are you? Good to see you. Oh man, it's great to come in here. How much is Mark Davis paying? Joining us tonight?
Yes.
Good. What a good night for your wife to be down here for that.
I know. Didn't,
You know?
didn't think about it. She'll
Yeah.
be here Monday helping move Zach into his apartment on Tuesday. So
Good. How's that working out?
Good.
Good.
Yeah. He's actually at the RV. We drove down from Petaluma yesterday.
Okay.
So yeah.
What's that ride like?
7 hours to Barstow and then stayed at my parents, had dinner for a little bit. Worked out in my dad's karate class. Shook
cool.
off some of the rust.
Nice.
And then I got here like at midnight.
How far of a belt did you get?
Black belt
Black belt.
Yeah.
Good. And you've had that for how long?
since I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's for life. I mean, you don't have to.
Well,
sort
yeah.
of-
I mean, once you get it, then the real work starts, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Did you look to pursue it even higher?
No, I mean, I've taught.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, I
Right.
used to compete in tournaments and things
Nice.
like that. It's been a while.
Yeah. Did you see anything particular that I can tee up with that you're just Trey Tucker? I talked about with him getting deep, and let's start with him and just what you've
Okay.
seen from him from camp overall.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna have, you said Eric Allen and EA together, Baron Davis.
Baron Davis. He said, Alexander said there's a good chance.
Okay.
They'll be together.
Okay. Interesting, man. That's he came up to me. He says, you've been covering me since UCLA. And I go, yeah, man. I go, wow. He was a hell of a player.
I told him, I said, last time I saw you in person, you were beating up on my rebels. And right, he started listening to guys. He goes, Kaz Kumbala and Freddie Daniels. And I was like, yep, Sean Marion.
He had like 3 or 4 years where he was as good as anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
In the knees.
did he get the bag?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did.
It was a different one back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Deere and Fox 239 million.
Right.
I'm going to ask him that. I'm
Yeah.
like, Deere and Fox got 239 million. I mean, good player.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Good player. But come on, dude. Played for Sacramento and San Antonio, and he's getting 239. That's a lot of money. Okay, we're back. Good to go. That's George Kittle. Nice turnaround for Bobby to get that from Vic Tafer, who was at the podium. JT, back with you. Brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Have a Tito's. Go to Tito's.com for all their recipes. Paul Gutierrez joins us from Raiders.com, and great to see you here. Some of the takeaways from you today at the joint practice.
Well, I'll tell you, JT, thanks for having me. I never saw the Grateful Dead at the Fillmore, but I did see Malo at the Mystic in Petaluma, so I know I kind of digress. But that's what Pete Carroll was talking about earlier. My big takeaways are this, is that it's always good to get out there and hit somebody else that's not your own teammate, just for the sense of newness. You're in the doldrums of training camp. It's hot out there. So from the Raider perspective, it's good to go against another team. Now, the flip side of that is the 49ers are missing so many of their frontline guys. So what kind of quality work are you getting in as opposed to quantity work? It's all good work because it's different. And then if you're the Raider offense, you're going against Fred Warner. If you're the Raider defense, you're going against Kittle. So from that perspective, that's quality work.
I noticed it more friendly. It wasn't Jets Giants where they were pulled off each other the other day, the whole entire workout. And you've been around where that there's even been practices that have been canceled recently in different rivalries. It just seems like Kyle and Pete, John Lynch and John Spytek, I think everybody wants to get their work done. Heat is an issue out here. I don't think it affected everybody today. And I think the Niners generally appreciate coming here, to come into Vegas to get some work in. But you nailed it. I mentioned Vic Tafer. I was talking to him and Matt Mayoko. Wow, the amount of guys that are banged up who seem to be good to go. They'll be good to go week one. Right. But they're not practicing as a unit fully going at it because of all the injuries.
And if you're from the 49er perspective, what you just said and what those guys have been reporting, why risk getting them out there in this when there's always, because these things are ripe for fights. And we've seen it. We've I've covered the team long enough where I remember when in 2014, near riot broke out because there were fans there as well when the Raiders were joint practicing with the Cowboys in Oxnard.
Right.
I was there in 2019, I believe, in LA, Cal Lutheran, when the practice was stopped because the Rams and Raiders couldn't stop fighting with each other. This seemed like there was a healthy respect. Yeah, there were a little bit of things that were kind of flaring up here and there. Raheem Mostert walking up the 49er sideline and staring guys down, being escorted by JPJ and Colt Miller. That was a highlight, but there were no actual fisticuffs. They didn't have to pull guys off each other. From that perspective, it was just good, solid work.
Paul Gutierrez is our guest. Let's jump in on Trey Tucker. You've been here at every practice. The practices that I've seen, there's been a deep ball connection to him. He's holding on to the ball. He's really finding the ball well on these Geno bombs, indoors and outdoors. I'm very impressed because I don't think the Raiders could ever have a dominant passing team if they don't have a deep threat, and a deep threat they can go to all the time. What growth have you seen with him?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's in the Raiders' DNA, right? I mean, it's Cliff Branch, it's Fred Biletnikoff, it's James Jett, it's somebody that can fly down the field. So what you're seeing here is, at the same point, you don't want to be pigeonholed. You don't want to be somebody that's kind of cornered that, hey, this is the only thing you can do. And what we're seeing here from him is some growth. Last offseason, he had the LASIK eye surgery, and he said that actually helped him on the deep ball, striking the ball deep. He doesn't want to just be that guy, though. Right. He wants to be able to do that. He also wants to run some outs, make guys fear him that way. That way he could do the up and unders. He could do the sluggos running up the middle of the field. And that makes him a more complete receiver. And that's something that's always been his goal. So that's the type of growth that you've seen. And, the day after that scrimmage, or I call it a scrimmage, the exhibition in Seattle, it almost seemed like it was a point of emphasis to get him involved early and often in practice. And you saw that again a little bit today. There was one pass that he did drop out in the flat, but that's what practice is for.
One concern I have, and I was talking to Rich Gannon about it, is explosive offensive line play in the running game. I just don't know when we're going to see it because we're not supposed to see it. Right. And when you're looking at practice and you're writing about it, where are we on that? Because this would be the game, the only home game at home. It's your building, it's your snap count, where I would hope to see some explosive pushing and getting their hands on the Niners and trying to set something up for Ashton Jeanty, who had a nice run today on 11-on-11s. What are you seeing with the offensive line that the fans should know about?
Well, I think that the big question, obviously, and I don't think I know it, is what's going on there at the center and right guard position with Jordan Meredith at center and Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard. It seems like now that's going to be the combination. And the fact that those two played well into the third quarter in Seattle, and now we're seeing it continue to happen that way. Okay, let's just chalk it up to that's what the offensive line is going to be. Talking with Lincoln Kennedy, same thing. As he mentioned, and I had him, we were talking on the podcast last week on the podcast, and his description was, well, it's a brand new thing here. They're building this culture from scratch. So that's what you're kind of to be expected to see is some hiccups. But you're right. At this point, this is where you want to see that explosion. And whether they're playing against frontline starters or not, you still need to get your game going. And this is the time for them to do it. So Pete Carroll has talked about it. Guys on the offensive line have talked about it. It's time to stop talking about it and actually start showing it.
Paul Gutierrez is our guest. Where does Michael Mayer jump in on that? Because I've talked to you about this on and off the air. I want Michael Mayer to be a great player in this league. And if you don't throw him the football, he's not going to be a great player. He didn't come to this league to be a blocking tight end. And everybody says, well, he's got all the skills. I want to see it. I know the skills because you and I are at practice. We see when he runs those 12, 15-yard routes and catches it and goes right up there. And you're like, man, he looks like a freight train when he catches it. But if they don't go to him in the game because they have to leave him in to block, that's what worries me a little bit. I'm sure Chip Kelly's going to figure it out, but I want to see more Michael Mayer, and I have a feeling they're going to need him to block at times.
They are, and that's part of the 12 personnel, right?
Yeah.
That's something that Lincoln Kennedy kind of hit me to the fact that if you're running 12 personnel, you have to have a solid offensive line because you're throwing another blocker there in the offensive line, and that's Michael Mayer's position, so to speak, as being the blocking tight end. But if you've got the deep threat that we talked about with Trey, with Thornton, and you've got Jacoby running those cuts in the middle, and you've still got Brock Bowers, and those guys are all covered, well, who's uncovered at that point? That's where Michael Mayer's opportunities to catch passes is going to come in. He's got to develop that relationship and that chemistry, though, with Geno Smith and that trust, and that's what training camp is for. So, yeah, Michael Mayer, again, I'm one of the few guys, a lot of people actually in that media room last year when I was in a different position threw their hands. I was like, why are you drafting a tight end? You've already got Michael Mayer. Well, Brock Bowers seems like he could be kind of a transitional guy, a generational talent. Michael Mayer is right there as well. And I've heard some interviews where guys are saying, I think Geno actually said it the other day, was that, yeah, Brock Bowers is one of the top two, if not the best tight ends in the NFL. Michael Mayer is right behind him.
Last one, personnel-wise, the great Mike Taylor has been here well over 35 years. He just watches practice differently because he used to stand next to Al Davis and watch practice. And I wanted to ask him a little bit about what's going on with the nickel corners, what we're going to see with the slot corner. What is your vision now with Jamal Adams coming into the box and playing, linebacker? Someone's going to have to come off the field. Or when they want to go with two linebackers and Jamal Adams isn't out there, but Isaiah Palomar is going to come down in the box and Holmes. What are you seeing here in practice with your eyes that lead you to believe that the Raiders are going to have a different look under Patrick Graham that could work?
A lot of dime coverage.
Okay.
I've seen that early in practice.
Good.
And when they're having all those all the new, and that's the thing, they're in, you can do the same thing with Chin. Chin can go up and play in the box as well. So are they safeties? Are they DBs? Are they linebackers? I mean, it's interesting when you talk to Jamal Adams, he said, yeah, when Pete Carroll offered him an opportunity to come here, he told him, look, you're playing linebacker. Don't talk about it. If you want to come, that's what you're playing. So they have these visions of what they want these guys to do. And versatility is key beyond what a defensive back is supposed to look like in Pete Carroll's scheme. So a lot of nickel, a lot of dime, more dime than I recall seeing in the past few years anyways here. So they have to have these guys that fit this prototype as a defensive back for Pete Carroll's system anyways. But you also have to have that skill set besides looking the part. And that's where the Jamal Adams comes in. That's where Chin comes in. That's where even Isaiah Palomar comes in as well. They're all these big, long, tall, rangy guys that if you close your eyes, you squint your eyes just a little bit, you look, you go, wait a minute, that kind of looks like Legion of Boom a little bit. I'm not saying they're the same guys, but there's some strains of that DNA and what Pete Carroll wants to do.
Last one. What do you know these alumni really well. Yeah. You've been around this organization a long time. It's alumni weekend. You know how much Mark Davis puts into this budget-wise. I mean, for everybody, we're all friends here. There is not an owner, I think, in sports because football players just have a larger alumni base than NBA teams and all that. The gravity of what he does for these alumni, bringing them in with a guest, putting them in a resort hotel, bringing entertainment to them. And then what do you look for when you see these guys when they get together, these alumni, these brothers, and they talk amongst themselves? I think it's really cool.
Those are always the best stories. And in doing the book with Lincoln Kennedy a couple of years ago, it's the same thing. And having that instant connection with guys. I did a book 10 years prior to that, 100 Things Raider fans should know and do before they die. And you talk to those guys, and it's not just the team they played for. It's a family. And it's very, very few teams can claim that. And with the Raiders, it's actually true. And it sounds trite, and it's just kind of a slogan or a saying, once a Raider, always Raider, but it really means something in this building. And when they come here, whether they played in LA, whether they played in Oakland, whether they played here a couple of years ago, they feel like they're coming home to some sort of base. And that's all from Mark Davis. And as he said, ever since he's taken over, that is the lifeblood of this organization.
Yeah.
That is the most powerful thing, is the alumni. And when they feel included, when they are proud of the product on the field, everything else is gravy.
See you tonight. Thanks for doing this.
Sounds good.
There he is, everybody. Paul Gutierrez. When we come back, we'll jump in more on practice. We're going to have Baron Davis, Eric Allen join us in studio. We got a big dinner tonight with our media team, and then we'll prepare for the game on Saturday. It's an early game. Raider Dad will be out in the parking lot. If you still have tickets for the game and you're not using your tickets, please get in touch with Raider Dad. Give the tickets to kids. I don't want to see an empty seat at Allegiant Stadium. The children, the kids should be in all those seats. All right. Thank you.
Got it. Thank
Good
you.
stuff. See you. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty interesting what we just found out. So this is why it's so great to do the show from the building. We got Baron Davis and Eric Allen together. Matt Millen, Jason Horowitz. Matt Millen's coming on. Woo! That's big. And then we have Amber Theoharis next. How about that for a show? A couple of shows have been really good. Hello.
Hey,
What's up? Right there, please.
What's going on?
Oh, we're good.
Sure, I'm on.
There you go. How's your day going?
Good.
They
It's
had your
fun being
line.
back with
Yeah,
everybody.
They do a nice job with that. I mean, they really do. You know,
Everything.
yeah. They're very generous with our preseason schedule.
Mhm.
And I know you appreciate it coming in and having,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's just great. You
It's
know,
good to like kind of reset and see everybody, and that's smart.
turn this. Here's the best way I would describe it to you. The best way to describe it to you. I would never do a radio show ever in my life again if it didn't stream on this app. it would not, I wouldn't even think of doing it.
Because it doesn't,
Because
yeah.
it's like you can't sit there and count on like a really big audience
Yeah.
on radio
Yeah.
anymore.
Now Q does the local one though,
Yeah,
right?
it's on right after me.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay, I've
Yeah.
gone on that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Okay.
confused.
Yeah.
Because I go on that.
Yep. And then I got good news from Sirius today, so they gave me a third night, which is good. But it's 7
Sunday,
to
Monday,
10.
Tuesday?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
So you're doing Mad Dog or you're doing
Mad
NFL?
Dog. Mad Dog.
Okay.
I would have liked to have done a night on Mad Dog, and me and you could go on
Sirius doesn't.
hours
I
on
don't
that.
get much from them. I get special events.
The fact that I'm not sitting on there one night a week at 7 with my Rolodex and doing it with you in another city, and the whole show
There
would,
5 years, I've never been given one study night.
and the whole show would be West Coast. It would be on in San Francisco, LA, the whole world, and they don't even care about it. Who's that, Bobby? JT, back with you as we continue on. We look at this team and what Jacoby Myers could do. We mentioned Michael Mayer, and now I mentioned Amber Theoharis, my teammate here, who anchored the live stream today. You gotta love doing that. I mean, I'm so happy to see you, and we've known each other for so long. It's another season together. But now we call him Hall of Famer, Eric Allen, and that's the first.
Wonderful.
So you've been working with him for years, but now to be able to say that every time you come in and out of a break, how great!
And I'm becoming annoying with it because I'm like, Hall of Famer, gold. Can we see your gold jacket?
Right.
Like everything is about the Hall of Fame because you and I were both there just to see. That was actually my first time at the Hall of Fame, surprisingly. This is my 27th training camp, and
Wow.
I've never been assigned to Canton. And to go with your friend going in, what a magical thing. And I'm just so proud of him, and it's so great to sit next to EA again. And we had some great guests today as well.
Yeah, and I think before we get to the show you did today, the fact that you had access, I had access to Eric's family. When that party was really rocking, and you saw all of his sons at the bar and the cousins, and they're like navigating, and then Eric's got his gold jacket on, and I'm sure you really appreciated how the gold jackets come and then they leave and another wave comes. Wasn't that cool?
It was neat to see kind of the tradition of the Hall of Famers going to each party and getting to see each of them. But I had the honor of bringing my father.
It was great to meet him.
Yeah, and he just, went through chemo and for cancer, very serious. And so for him to have that bucket list, and then the way that Eric's family and friends treated him, he just is still in heaven. And I'm just so proud to be friends with Eric Allen and his wife, Lynn, and the 4 boys that they have raised.
Yeah.
We say this a lot, they're even better human. There aren't better humans than Eric Allen.
Best.
And we're very lucky to be teammates with him here in Raider Nation.
What was it like for you and your dad in some of the private moments around the Hall of Fame?
You're gonna make me cry.
No, it's important.
You really
It's
are gonna
important.
make
I
me
mean, my dad's 87, and every time I see him, it's a blessing. And
It
for you
is.
to be with your dad in Canton at the birth of football in that history,
Yeah.
I could tell you're emotional about it.
Yeah. Now you got it. Yeah. This time, like around November of last year, to find out, like, you don't even know if your dad is going to survive. And the man that made you love football, I'm his daughter. I wouldn't have loved football. I wouldn't have had the career that I've had if it wasn't for my dad. And he's diehard. What was the Redskins? That was his childhood team. And so to be able to take him into the Hall of Fame, I mean, cool story. I didn't buy him a ticket because I didn't think, we're used to being in the media. You just walk in. I forgot, he doesn't have a pass. And they stopped us at the Hall of Fame and said, no, you can't go in without a ticket. And we were just going to go in for 5 minutes. Yeah. And I hear, Amber, you good? And I look over and it's Marshall Falk. And Marshall Falk goes, let him in. Oh my
God.
And we just walk in and my dad's like, oh my gosh, Marshall Falk. And you know who he'd beeline for? To see a man that is 76 years old beeline for Sonny Jurgensen's bust. And the way he was looking up at that bust, like he was a boy and it's 1963. It was just really cool. It was a bucket list for him, and he was just so thrilled. And he got all the Redskins, Darryl Green and Riggins, and those were my childhood heroes. I grew up on the Raider Nation. I didn't grow up in Oakland or LA.
I grew up a Giant fan. It took a long time for me to say we worked for other teams, and now they're our team.
And
that's
now
the way
they're our team. Yeah. I mean, the Raiders have been my family. So thank you for letting me share that, because I think people that love football, we all became football fans, not just people that work in football, because of our mothers or fathers or grandfathers, somebody that passed it down, the love of the game. And you have those memories. You know, I can remember with my tomahawk earrings and my feather headdress and fully, you know, Washington. Die Hard back then. Yeah,
Wow.
Die Hard. The first Chucks I got were the burgundy and gold colored Chucks. You know, like, it was neat to share that with my father. And that's what the Hall of Fame is about, is like the ghosts of the past and remembering what has made this game great. And to see an older man like that relive his childhood in a few moments was really cool.
Amber Theoharis. So I'm going to pivot for a second because I want to get back to your show. I had one of the most important interviews I've done in a long time with Don Van Adder yesterday of ESPN on the Redskins server and the leaked Bruce Allen emails and John Gruden. It was really big that he gave me that opportunity because Brent Musburger came on this show and told me it was a hit. It was a hit on John Gruden. And that year we were 3-1 and he had to resign, and it still went back to Snyder. Now John Gruden won 5-2 in the Nevada Supreme Court. The only chance for the NFL is to go to the United States Supreme Court. I don't think they want to go to the United States Supreme Court.
No.
That's just bad energy for the NFL.
No.
John Gruden could have one of the biggest settlements of all time or insist that it goes to court. And it's going back to my mentor, Bruce Allen's emails that were taken and leaked. And I think that there's so much to unpeel. You and I should do a podcast on it someday.
We could, because I first came into one of this, like I said, this is my 27th season. I think it was 1998. I was a young intern with the Washington Redskins at the time. And that was when Snyder had just taken over. And to watch the decline of that team, you know, I mean, I'm definitely not a Commanders fan. I definitely don't root for that team. And a lot of it was the Snyder regime killed that fan base.
Yeah,
it really did. It's a lively, storied fan base. And just, you know, my family's still back there. And then a team like the Ravens came back to Baltimore and showed how it was done with Art Modell and then Steve Bisciotti. And it was such a contrast in ownership and how to run organizations the right way. It's kind of like the Raiders. I always say, you know, I've been involved heavily in the Ravens, the Raiders, and then being close to the 49ers. I think those organizations are run very well, and it does come from ownership. And Daniel Snyder really ruined that franchise for fans. And you know, John Gruden, all I can say about him is he has always been kind to me when he didn't have to be. You know, as a young woman coming into this business, that's why I thought it was a little unfortunate with some of the things that were said, and I was disappointed in him, and I was very disappointed in him. But the actions I have seen from that man did not express that type of you know, sexism, and he actually uplifted me very early in my career. You know, when I was doing Monday Night Football for the first time, and he beelined for me, and I didn't think he would have any idea who I was. And he just came up, shook my hand, you know, real hard, like a Gruden handshake. And he goes, "You keep doing what you're doing. Keep giving those boys hell."
Wow.
Like, and that to me, to come from John Gruden, was like, wow. And I just saw him in the airport, and I didn't think he would know who I was or remember. And he's like, I'm a big fan of yours.
That's great.
You do a great job analyzing. And I was like, you know, to see me as somebody that really analyzes football,
really respects you.
Really, there was a lot of respect, and he's always been vocal about it. So
you deserve it. That's great. Wrapping it up, I wanted to get your biggest cause of concern and something you're most excited about that could be really good for the team.
Gosh, I'm really excited about this offense.
Yeah.
And could you imagine sitting here this time last year saying that? I am really excited about this offense. Chip Kelly, I think, is better than what we saw in the NFL. He learned from the last time than what we've seen him do in college since then. Is something to be excited about. It's going to be a complicated kind of hard to predict offense. I think Ashton Genty is going to be great. Could you imagine having to protect Brock Bowers in the slot at times? I mean, Jacoby Myers and then Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, I know is playing on the outside.
It looks good.
I think this could be a high-flying, high-scoring offense at times. Okay. I think the secondary is a little bit for me, and it's just because it's new. I haven't seen enough of it. It doesn't, but it does. We just had Cynthia Freeland on our show. She was fantastic.
Yeah, she's really good.
She was talking about the difference if your secondary can just elevate a little bit from last year to this year, how much difference in this division that can matter with win totals. And it's no doubt that Pete Carroll wants to bolster the secondary, and he likes big, long kind of corners.
Yeah.
And I just need to see it all together. So I think that's the
it's
corners.
hard because
It's
we
not
haven't
necessarily
seen
the
it.
safeties.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Jeremy Chang. I watched him closely with the Commanders last year. I think Isaiah pulled him out at safety. He's an up and coming player. I just a little bit with the corners. I want to see what we've got there, and especially at depth.
Yeah, because it feels like the Raiders in this game coming up have to show us something.
They
You
do.
know, that offensive line's got to get a push.
That's another
And
concern
the
I have a little
defensive
bit.
and the secondary, as you mentioned perfectly, someone's got to jump her out, make a play. The fans need to see something.
We need
because they've been
turnover.
here.
The
Yeah.
Raiders have not been a team that forces turnovers
No.
for a long time, and it's the reason why they haven't been winning recently. You have to take the ball away from the other guy. It's that simple, and we need corners that can do that. In this division, yes.
Yeah, my wife looks forward to seeing you tonight.
I love your wife. Me and her, we have a great time.
We are going to
We're
have a great
chop it
time.
up.
I say this is Marcus's inside joke. This is his Academy Awards. His
Oh
red
yeah,
carpet
he
night.
gets to stand up.
Yes, so I
Yeah.
will see you at dinner.
JT, you're the best, man.
You're the
Thank
best.
you.
That's Amber Theoharis. When we come back, we got about another minute or two. We'll reset. Hour number 2, we're going to have Eric Allen. We're going to have Baron Davis. And we'll have a lot more to get to. And again, we hope everybody shows up tomorrow for the game. I'll be on the call with Eric Allen and Matt Millen. Jason Horowitz will be here next. He goes to the TV side, and he'll be there with Kirk Morrison and Rich Gannon. And Rich has got a lot to say. When Rich comes on, when Rich comes on, as you know, Rich, and you're a lot like that too. That's why I love having you on. You tell what you see, and you turn it around really quickly. We'll get to that on the other side. We are brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. Head on out to the M. It's the official hotel of the Raiders. It's where the rookies are staying. They have Anthony's. They have a fine restaurant. They have the pool outside. And most importantly, they have a great tavern and grill, the Raiders Tavern and Grill. We'll get to all that coming back on the other side. And we're going to get into tomorrow's show. We have a great conversation with John Spytek. We'll have the Max Crosby interview too. That's all coming up. And we'll probably reposition some of your stuff today because it went so well.
Yeah, it was great interviews. Hope you get a chance to air those.
Yep, that's Amber Theoharis. We'll be back on the other side. Thanks for listening to hour number 1. If you want to watch it live, we are really got a nice crowd here, almost 700 people who are streaming us right now. Go to YouTube, JT the Brick YT, and on Instagram, JT the Brick LV. Also, Larry Kruger from KMBR in San Francisco. So we're rolling today on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Take us out, Bobby. This is Raider Nation Radio. Right. Thank you. That was really good.
Oh my God, you got me crying.
That was pretty good, man. Amber got kind of emotional there talking about her dad. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want her to get too emotional, but I like to ask good questions, and that was pretty good. Yes, Big D, that's a good hour, man. We had a hell of a show yesterday. We got a good hour going today, and we'll continue it. So next we have Jason Horowitz, voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz. As my son would say, check the chat. Is everybody being good here? Everybody being behaved? Understand us, Fabian. Is this a first, JT? JT made someone cry. That's funny. That's a funny joke. I have made a few people cry, not on the radio over my life, because I've disappointed them. I've disappointed them over my life. But no, that was fun. So we got Jason Horowitz, Baron Davis, and Eric Allen. Wow. I got my credential for the year. This is cool. Look at that. That's nice. Nice credential. That's nice. All access. All access. I like that. Sidelines, post, pre, press box, sideline.
Hey, buddy.
There he is.
Good having you guys.
Good to have you.
I was gonna wear the same polo, but I was like,
That's
same
this
polo.
this schedule's good.
Great. Thank you.
We just saw EA Marcus and Brett Barron.
Great. Great. Just had a heavy moment there. Amber made her cry. She was talking about her dad at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, I
it
saw
was
the
pretty
picture.
heavy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw the
she said
picture.
dad's a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And it was nice to meet him. So
Well, that's why I wear this all the time. My mom was not a kid.
Yeah,
Did I tell you about Seattle? Did we talk about this?
you did. Yeah.
My mom and the guy that played at the high school that she.
No, you didn't tell me
Real quick
about
story,
that.
'cause I
Yeah.
never- I was so. Been around the league.
Yeah. Why does that name sound
Well, he's
familiar?
on, you just saw him
Yeah,
this week.
right.
So his senior year was, my mom died in May, would have been his junior year. His senior year, the team won the state championship, and there was a game in October that they did. One player wore a jersey that said Sharon on the back, and the other's player said Horowitz. But I've never had a picture with the front of their faces, just the back of their jerseys. And I wasn't there. I was doing a game that weekend somewhere else. I knew this kid wasn't him. He's darker, shorter, but I wasn't sure if this was Cody White. So I had Will get in touch with Seahawks PR, be like, hey, I know this is. He's like, no, that's not me. It was our quarterback. But hey, I knew your mom. I'd love to. So I was supposed to meet him on the field at 5:00 because of the traffic in the Mariners game. We didn't get there till like 5:45.
No.
It sucked.
No.
So I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Oh, well, you will though. I have a feeling.
Maybe he'll be a Raider. Yeah, Pete would have had him. Maybe Pete knows him. I should
Yeah,
ask him.
Pete, you're right about that. All right. Anything you saw? Anything you saw today? Yeah, that you want to go. Wow, what a show today. Very happy that the Raiders Silver and Black gave me all these great guests today. Amber Theoharis was fantastic. We had the Pete Carroll press conference for you live. We have Baron Davis coming up here in about 20 minutes, and the new Hall of Famer, Eric Allen, and the voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, in town and here for our big dinner tonight and to call the game at Allegiant Stadium tomorrow on television.
I don't fit in with that list of people
You do fit in.
right?
You're the
I mean, I know
voice
I
of
feel
the
it with the
Raiders.
team, but not like the magnitude there.
Hey, I was hoping for Matt Millen. I get a lot of Matt Millen this time of year, and
He's in the green room with me. We were listening to a college football rules call for the last hour. Matt and I were.
you were doing that together.
Yeah.
I just want to say this about Matt, and you're getting to know him better and better, and you're tight with Lincoln, and you're going to be working with Kirk Morrison. I think that Matt Millen is a national broadcasting jewel. And I try to remind other people who think, well, he was 0-16 against the Lions. Yeah, I get that. Or he won 4 Super Bowls. He should have won 6. But when you think of the guy who was chosen to replace Madden, that is next level. Replacing someone, and you've done it. You've done so many great broadcasts. When you got to replace John Madden on CBS and Fox, can you imagine what you have to, how self-confident you have to be?
Well, and remember this franchise has had some unbelievable voices. Right? Bill King and Greg Papa, but right before me was Brett Musburger. And I know he was only part of this franchise for 4 years, but he's as legendary as it gets, right? So I understand. But I've called games with Matt, not just for preseason TV and when he's filled in for Lincoln over the last couple of years radio, but I've done TV games with Matt for college, and we've gotten to know each other a lot. But the funny part, you just brought up him as a GM for the Lions. Like, I grew up, you know this, a Lions fan. Right. And the first time I ever met Matt, and I found this picture in my shoebox now that I'm a house owner and 17 years married almost. My senior year of college, my college roommate and I we were running the Syracuse radio station. And he was a Broncos fan. I was a Lions fan. Elway and Barry Sanders are going into the Hall of Fame. So we convinced our radio station to be like, oh, you got to send us. There's 2 Syracuse guys trying to make the team. And we go, and I'm down there that weekend, and I have a picture of me and Matt Millen as a 21-year-old kid while Matt's the GM of the Lions. And I found that again 3 or 4 years ago when we first got together, and I was here for the first time.
Matt just shared a story about John Spytek came up to him and says, do you remember me? And Matt's like, what do you mean? And he goes, he was an intern with the Lions and used to bring him paper from the copier machine. I was like, wow. But it's great to broadcast with him. And now that you're broadcasting with Kirk Morrison and Rich Gannon, those are two really good pros too.
Yeah.
What you see in the Seattle game that gave you encouragement and maybe some of the takeaways that you think the Raiders really have to work on?
Well, I mean, tackling, right? I think we all saw that. You saw that. You were there. I think everybody who watched the game saw that. And Max Crosby talked about that today. Like, that's something that's been a heavy focus all week. How much of it is that there's not as much tackling in preseason? How much of it was just they weren't ready to whatever. I don't know the answer. We'll find out. We'll see how they tackle on Saturday against the Niners, but more importantly, week 1 against New England. I think blocking is still a concern. I think the run game is still a concern. And whether or not it has to do with Jordan Meredith and JPJ getting comfortable together, whether it has to do with the fact that DJ Glaze and Colton Miller played 1-2 series, whatever that has to do with, that's got to be better, because if Chip Kelly's offense is going to work and he's creative, they have to run the football. And you have Ashton Genty, and we only saw 3 carries, so who knows? But those two things are front and center moving forward.
Jason Horowitz is our guest. Why would that potentially be an issue? Because I think it comes down to size.
Tackling or blocking?
The blocking, because Parham is nasty, and I know he's a good player, but he's not a Pro Bowler. I've been saying, as long as I've been in this organization, we have to get more Pro Bowlers. And if you don't get them like we were able to do and, hire someone back in the day or bring them over here, a good example was Christian Wilkins was the perfect player for me. Prime of his career, multiple Pro Bowler heading into his prime. That's the type of player here. But if you don't get a player like that, you have to develop them. So Colton Miller hasn't been a Pro Bowler, Jason, just because that position has so many elite players that if you're in the top 5, you're not a Pro Bowler.
But he's still a first-round pick.
Absolutely. I think he's a top 10 left tackle. Right tackle, I seem to be okay with DJ Glaze. I think he's developing. But can these 3 guys in the middle develop into really good players quickly?
Well, if you just go based off of the fact that the starters played 1 or 2 series last week as a whole, that 3 of the 5 positions are locked in, right? Colton Miller played 4 plays.
Right.
I don't remember off the top of my head how many DJ played, but DJ and Dylan Parham, neither one played past the 2nd series.
Yes.
So those 3 guys you would think are locked in. Right, and Alex Kappa's been hurt, so you don't really know what that competition would have been like anyway. But Jordan Meredith and Jackson Powers-Johnson played into the 3rd quarter. And that's a lot for guys that you think are going to be starters. So that tells me a couple of things. That tells me that they need Jordan Meredith to get as many live reps at center as possible, because he's never done it before. But it also tells me that they need to see more from Jackson Powers-Johnson with Jordan Meredith. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, the big thing on defense I want to get with you was Tyree Wilson. Yeah. You're calling the game. Give me what you believe. I
like Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, so do I. He's got a pop this year. I think he's here because he's too valuable to let go. At 7th overall, you're in your 3rd year. You don't want to let a player go to another team that young. But, I mean, he hasn't lived up to the 7th pick overall.
No, he hasn't. But, there's one player, and again, I without knowing every team every player that Pete Carroll and John Schneider drafted in their 14 years together, like there's a player that stands out to me. It's like they took him so much earlier than people thought, but he turned out to be good. And then Bruce Irvin, right? Bruce Irvin was a guy that they took. Example. People thought he would be like a 2nd-round pick, and he went 14, 15, something like that. And, he was never he's not Hall of Fame good, but he turned out to be a really good player, impactful player for a really good defense. And I think from a Tyree Wilson standpoint, it's not that he was over-selected. I think people expected him to go top 12, top 15, top 10. So he went where people thought he would go. And he's made plays, just not as many as you'd like it to. So I think you see a couple of things. I think they probably think they can get more out of him than they have gotten. But I think also you don't have much choice. Like, there have been a lot of guys they've brought in, whether through the draft or recently the trade with Thomas Booker, because they're throwing bodies. They need bodies to see who's going to be next to Max and Malcolm Kuntz and Adam Butler to be part of this rotation. And I think you hope that Tyree Wilson is going to be an impactful player. And he was good. I thought he was good the other day against Seattle.
Jason Horowitz is our guest. So let me ask you this. If the Raiders don't bring the blitz and they have that Max Crosby season along with Malcolm Kuntz, and they're rotating good defensive tackles, how confident are you with the linebackers guarding the tight ends and guarding the middle of the field? The middle of the field has been open for a decade. It's been open for a decade. But I really believe if you line up Pratt and you line up Jamal Adams and you clearly have the Landon Roberts and they're lined up correctly because they're veterans, I think they'll get to the football.
Yeah.
And I think they'll turn the football over. They have a history.
Well,
of
you
that.
had Matt with you in the radio booth.
Yeah.
Going back to Matt Millen. You had him on Thursday with you, and you will the rest of the preseason. And there was some parts of the linebacking group that he did not like.
Yeah.
So I'll take a 4-time Super Bowl champion's view of how he felt those guys played. Now, Jamal Adams popped and made a lot of really good plays. And I think that looks like it's going to be someone who's going to be very impactful. But they're all those guys came from different places, right? Landon Roberts was with Pittsburgh, and Jermaine Pratt was with Cincinnati, and Devin White didn't play, and Jamal Adams has been hurt since 2020. So there's time that those guys have to.
Yeah.
Jermaine Pratt has been here for 4 weeks?
Yeah,
I mean, I know
good
they
point.
signed him before that, but minicamp was over. So he's been around for 4 weeks. And Jamal Adams has been around for 3 weeks. And so they got to take time to get together and figure it out. And so hopefully that happens by September 7th.
Paul Gutierrez made an interesting point. He expects to see a lot of dime. And if it is a lot of dime, I don't know how much depth there is. And I've always thought that
Well,
they're
they
gonna-
added to it, right, with Terrell
Yeah,
Edmonds this week.
Absolutely. And I still believe with the money they have left and the ability, if a good player gets cut from another team just because
Yeah.
he's a camp casualty for a younger player, do you think John Spytek will look, or do you have a sense, Jason, that this is what Pete likes?
Yeah.
He likes the height, the length. He's going to go with these
Well,
guys.
I mean, we've seen it. And so, look, this is not unusual. Teams during training camp bring in players, but sometimes you often think of teams bringing in players because they have injury and they need bodies.
Mhm.
Terrell Edmonds is not a guy you bring in because you have bodies. You bring him in because you lost Lonnie Johnson.
Right.
You are trying Chris Smith and Trey Taylor, and Thomas Harper's been hurt, so he's not out there today. He wasn't practicing today. So you do need, but maybe they didn't like what they saw. And so you bring in someone who is a former first-round pick. I was doing my notes yesterday. He made 75 starts with the Steelers. That's a lot of starts.
That's a lot of starts.
But you expect that of a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But he made 75 starts in his first 5 years, and on a defense that's always as good as anybody. So you think that there's some success that can happen there. But honestly, JT, if you're adding to players now on August 14th, you probably don't feel great about where you are in that realm. And I don't know what that means going forward, because there are a bunch of young guys back there. I think the secondary is going to take some time to develop. Eric Stokes has missed a lot of time the last 2-3 years, and DeCamerion Richardson was a rookie last year, and they're hoping that he takes a Jacorian Bennett type step 1 to 2. Darian Porter is a guy that we all love, his length, his size, 3rd-round pick. He's getting first-team reps. But he didn't play a lot his first 4 years at Iowa State. He was not on the field as a defensive player until his 5th or 6th year. Now, he was really good this past year, but that's a lot of time where he was a special teamer. So it's going to take some time.
I want to spend the last few moments talking about you as a broadcaster. When you came out of Syracuse, it was a different world when it came to radio, right?
Yeah.
Syndication, local radio.
Yeah.
You see what we're doing here, and as we're streaming and
I
YouTube
haven't looked
stuff.
at the camera once.
Well, the camera's not on. We got that camera on.
Oh,
We're streaming there. We're streaming there. But what's interesting is, what advice would you give young people now, 21, 22, that are coming out of college and jobs are just not available? Well, they're just not available. And then you're going to have to go figure out your own voice on streaming, podcasts before
they're
maybe an
different
opportunity
jobs, though.
breaks.
I actually think so. I don't know that we've ever talked about this, but my first job came because my senior year of college, I was on the 2nd season of ESPN's Dream Job.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know what that was, it was basically ESPN's version of American Idol.
Right.
The first season, a guy named Mike Hall, who's been doing great things with Big Ten Network for the last 15 years, and he's a hilarious young guy. He won. Our season, a guy who won, his name is David Holmes, and he's been a local TV broadcaster, I think Columbus or Cleveland, that area, and he's from Ohio, so he's home. But there are 2 of us from that season who are doing this job, and Heath Schroff is the voice of the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
He was a year older than I was at Syracuse, or is, and then me, and so there's a lot of really good stuff. But my start happened big portion because of that, but also I started doing TV for the internet. In 2005, CBS hired me to do video for the internet, which is like, who's going to watch TV on the internet?
20 years ago.
20 years ago. August, so probably today, 20 years ago, I moved to New York City because I was looking at the quote-unquote traditional. Do I want to take a job? I got offered one in Buffalo, in El Paso. I was talking to a buddy of mine who was working in Shreveport, or go to New York City and try this whole internet for TV thing. And it worked out okay. But so to your point, JT, like, the industry is always changing. I actually think there are a lot of opportunities for jobs now. They're just different jobs because everyone has one of these wherever they want it to be, a microphone. Everyone has, a camera or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's always things you can do. So the advice for me is always the same as it has always been for people, which is, yes, the job you want may take some time to get there. Focus on your people skills.
Right.
Focus on your communication. Focus on you as a person, which isn't really different for this job versus any job. If people like you, then the job will come.
Yeah, that's why I went to Geneseo State University and had a communications degree.
Didn't you own like Apple stock in 1987?
I had a couple of good things I did in life, but going through Geneseo turned out to be great because I would always road trip on the weekends to Syracuse because my fraternity brothers lived in Syracuse, and I played rugby for 4 years. DK, Delta Kappa.
Okay.
So we would go down there a lot, and I knew about the great broadcasters there because my dad went to Bayside High, and so did Mike Tirico. And that was something that
in
was
Long
really
Island,
cool.
right?
Or yeah,
Queens,
Queens.
yeah.
I was in Queens.
Yeah.
But one last thing on the streaming that's happening now, everybody's bundling, and you do a lot of play-by-play when it comes to college basketball, college football. Do you like where we're going in this world of, Dana White came out with a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount Plus, but then friends of ours have to buy DirecTV or they have to buy the NFL package.
Yeah.
Then they have the Disney bundle. Do you think this is going in the right direction for young people?
So I don't know the answer to it. I've always kind of stayed away from the business part of it because I don't know that like for instance, at our house, we have YouTube TV.
We do too.
We have Netflix.
Did you get out of DirecTV? Did you?
We never had DirecTV.
Good.
Yeah,
so I had DirecTV forever and then got into YouTube.
When we lived in New York City, we had, I don't know, Time Warner or whatever, cable. And then when we moved, we had Verizon Fios for internet, but we also had that for cable. But I also noticed my kid never did anything other than Netflix, or we have Amazon Prime. So you have Amazon Prime Video.
Of course.
So I'm like, well, let's get rid of cable. We'll get YouTube. So but I think ultimately it's all that really matters is what does it cost you as a consumer compared to when you had it all wrapped up in one, when you just had, 15 years ago when it was cable, 10 years ago, whatever it was. And I think it's not that drastically different. Now the prices are going up. Like when I signed up for YouTube TV, it was $64.99.
Yes.
I think now it's almost $80, maybe $82.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's gone up. And then you have to buy, if you want Sunday NFL ticket, that's $200 and some dollars. And then so there's all those things. ESPN's with Fox is going to have a combo direct to consumer.
$40.
So I guess my question is if you buy that, do you get rid of YouTube TV or do you like watching A&E and USA and all those? And I don't know the answer to that. So I think you have to just pick what do you like, which isn't really that different when you had cable and you never watched more than 25 channels.
What I think the issue becomes is if you like something a lot, you have to stay with it. Like I got Paramount Plus for Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I like that show. And then I'm looking at Amazon and I get that because of Prime. I can't get rid of Netflix.
Can you not have Yellowstone on YouTube TV or is it just not up to date?
I think
Again,
the
I don't
television version you can, but if you want the new offerings, I'll give you the best one that I like now. It's HBO Max or Max, right? There's too many shows there that I just want to see, no matter what it is.
It's like Sex in the City rerun.
Well, a little John Oliver, you'd be surprised if you saw what I have queued up. And that's my last question to you. You jump me on that.
I watched Ted Lasso on replay over and over again on
When
Apple
you're
TV.
not prepping, which I know you prep a lot, if you're flying cross country, what are you watching? Are you listening to music, podcasts? Are you streaming? What are you listening to?
So I like to have... I watch a lot of Law and Order reruns as my background noise. I like, but regular, not SVU. I struggle with the child murder part of SVU. Okay. So I just watch regular Law and Order, and I usually like season 7 through 16. It's very specific.
Is that many seasons?
Oh, they're up to 23. Regular Law and Order is up to 22 or 23 seasons. Yeah, and Jack, so I liked it when Jack McCoy was the district attorney, not when he became the. Wow. Guy in charge or whatever. So so I have that in the background. I'll rerun stuff that I don't have to pay attention to, like Ted Lasso, because I love those shows. Stick, the recent show with Owen Wilson, I really like that. Yeah, it's kind of like your golf version of Ted Lasso, that type of character development, stuff like that. So I like those type of things. I'll have NFL Network running in the background. I have to not really pay attention, but it's there. I love listening to music. The Hamilton soundtrack. My son is you met him. Huge Imagine Dragons fan, and he loves listening to Imagine Dragons live in Vegas, which was the album they recorded when they did this game, the concert in Allegiant. Loves listening.
You can definitely wrap a road trip around them.
100%. So I'm one day looking forward for him meeting Dan Reynolds. I don't know how I'm going to make that happen, but there's no way that there's a kid under 10 who can sing every and he plays the drums. He likes to play some like Believer on the. Oh my God, it's awesome.
Oh,
So
yeah.
one day he's going to be on stage with Dan Reynolds. Whether we make it happen sooner rather than later, I don't know.
Well, that's inside joke. Marcus can make that happen.
Maybe. We'll
he
see.
can make it.
We'll
Thanks
see.
for doing this.
Yeah.
Really good conversation. That's Jason Horowitz, everybody, and he'll be on the call and does a great job on the call TV, and then he jumps in with radio. When we come back, Baron Davis. Wow, I can't wait to go on this deep dive from UCLA to the old days in the Warriors when not a lot of people showed up to those Warrior games when I was living in the Bay Area. We'll talk about that. We're going to have a deep dive on the newest member of our Raider broadcast team. Baron Davis joins us next as we are brought to you by our great friends at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. Head on out to Virgin this weekend. The pool's open. The clubs are open. You'll have a great time. It was good. That was nice.
I forgot Baron played for the Hornets.
You know, I'm going to ask.
He went around the league too, right? He was a lot.
I asked, who did I ask? I asked Paul Gutierrez if he.
Why are we moving to New Orleans?
Yeah, it was like, what?
Yeah.
Like nobody knew. It was almost like a press announcement for a preseason basketball.
So do you know if we're still gonna have them on at the same time?
Like a whole year.
we're not.
It was like, wait, when does the season start?
Yeah.
Are we still in, like, we were not, we became very unprofessional.
Yeah. Is it still run that way?
I mean, it's just hard to have it's hard to have a professional team and, well, no.
I guess
They got practice sites and all that. When I first got there, we were like practicing.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, we have Baron Davis here.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do Baron Davis here, and then we'll have Eric Allen last segment.
They take pride in it, but
Yeah.
they come.
Who are you coming out with?
But that facility was
Okay.
modern compared to like
What you guys had in New Orleans?
yeah, because you think like New Orleans, there wasn't like a new arena. we
Yeah.
went into.
Yeah.
We just went into like
And it was probably right before Katrina, right?
before
Right
Katrina.
before Katrina.
Yeah, before Katrina. So there was no real practice site.
Right.
There was like nobody was prepared for like basketball players moving in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They used to the football guys.
Did you grow up in LA? I know you went to
Born and raised in
Born and raised, yeah. Okay. Are you Steve Elford?
No, I'm laughing.
That's what I meant, Steve Levin. That's the one, right?
I forgot about Steve Alford. He was there for a while.
Yeah. Did you play with John Crispin?
No,
No, he didn't transfer from Penn State. He was after you.
he was
Okay.
younger than me.
Okay. I've done games with John before he left Big Ten Network.
Just go.
Yeah, fun. Yeah. You know, nice like attitude of like shooter's gonna shoot type attitude.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you
We're ready to go in a minute here, Baron.
Okay.
Oh, right here.
We have
There you go. Have you been in this room before?
I haven't.
Yeah, so this is our normally all the shows that we do live during the season. This is where I interview the head coach
Okay.
every week. So none of these are on now, but I got a stream going, but you'll do stuff in here. Like, this is really cool. We do a lot of,
I think we did an interview with you, right?
We did. I was over there.
Yeah, over here, we had Eddie.
Yeah.
That's when Eddie was
Yeah. So you excited, man? This is
I
just,
am,
this
man.
is
This
just
is-
unbelievable. I want to ask how it came about and all that when we
Okay.
get going. But how do you got the flight down? It's pretty
Got
easy.
the flight.
You going out of
easy.
Burbank or LAX?
I'm going out of LAX.
Good. How
I
far?
live in Ladera Heights.
Oh, good.
So I'm
Great.
15 minutes to
That's
the
good.
airport. You know, it literally take me 20 minutes if my flight board at 8:30. I'm leaving my house at 8:10.
Get through security. I'm on Southwest.
You think
I got the A position.
Hey,
And
girl.
sometimes it's packed. Sometimes there's nobody on there.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. That's good. I lived in the Valley for 10 years.
Okay.
I worked at Fox, and this is my 28th year with the team, and I never lived in Oakland, so I commuted from here.
Yeah.
So I was fine. Then I lived in LA for 10 years in Burbank, so I had to get on those flights. Those flights needed to be on time, and they always were with Southwest.
Yeah, Burbank is great.
Here we go. That's Max Crosby, as he probably wants to play more and he won't, and he shouldn't play a lot because he's Max Crosby, one of the most important players in this organization. Now my new teammate, newest member of Silver and Black Productions, NBA legend Baron Davis. Good to see you. This is awesome. How are you?
I'm great, man.
You got to love it. I got a guy on my chat says, tell Baron I went to South Park Elementary School in LA. So I've covered your entire career. And before we get into basketball, I think the fans want to know, how did this come about? Because we've seen you at Raider games in the past. And how did the group here decide this was the right time to bring you in?
I think me just being a super fan and being a little annoying. I came for a tour. I brought my kids, and, I just kind of fell in love with this place and all the things that they were doing from, I'd say from a franchise perspective, from a branding perspective. And you can just really feel the energy, right? You can feel that, this Raiders location and destination is inclusive to all of us. And so I was walking around. I was like, hey, I want to work here. Like, how can I get a job here? Like, I'll start anywhere.
So you were the aggressor. You were the guy, like you were as a player. You said, I got to get to the rim.
Yeah.
There's 5 guys in front of me. I'm going to get there. Ask.
Yeah, you gotta manifest. I was walking around like, oh, man, I have to work here. I have to work here one day. And shout out to Marcus Padilla. We just talking about content, talking about shows, talking about, things that I wanted to do. And, him and I was just having like these great conversations around like, hey, I want to be a fan, and it would be cool to have, perspective from somebody who played a whole nother sport, but is a super fan of the Raiders. Yeah,
I think it's a perfect fit. And I was the original host of Talk of the Nation, and we were doing it during COVID. And I was in the stadium. We were doing it kind of like a Pardon the Interruption. We have guests on that way in an empty building during COVID. And then the show's evolved. Sibley Souls was on it. Now you get an opportunity to do it. It's great. Growing up in LA and going to UCLA, what were your earliest memories of the Raiders and the Oakland Raiders, the LA Raiders, growing up as a kid, from the fashion to what they were saying in the streets and how you gravitated towards it?
Well, I think it was it kind of became like the outfit and the swag for LA. I remember when I first started playing football at 9 years old, I had a coach, Coach Long, and I don't think there's a bigger Raider fan in the world.
Wow.
And Coach Long, and he looked like he played for the Raiders. He had the bicycle, he had the bicycle goatee. He was bald head, and he was super intense. And we would go to his house after practice, after games, and he had this Raiders man cave in Inglewood, California. And I would just go down it was a Raider cave, everything Raiders, every piece of memorabilia, poster, videotapes, because back then you had the tape stuff. So he had all the tapes of the game, and he was just Raider #1. And so he kind of left a big impression on me because he was my coach. That was my first year playing football. And I just I love Coach Long, and I love the fact that he lived or died for everything was Raiders. Like if our Pop Warner team could have been the Raiders, he would have changed the name.
And the Raiders win Super Bowl 15, 18, LA at that time, the Lakers, the Dodgers. I want to go back to your youth. Who guided you as a kid to be an athlete, to stay out of certain issues in your life, guide you on your way to becoming the brand and athlete that you were? Who do you give the credit for? Was it education, sports, family? Who were those guiding lights?
I'd say my grandmother. I'd say basketball and the basketball community, like the greater community of LA, coaches and mentors. And then the fact that I was in the boiling water, right? In like every day that I grew up I was one of those kids, right? Who could have looked at their situation and said, like, everything's jacked up here. Everything's messed up here. Woe is me. Woe is thou. We're on welfare. There's drugs around. There's gangs. People are in my family going to jail every day. But I kind of use basketball as like a fantasy world to live in. And so I credit my grandmother because one, when life was volatile as a little kid, right?
Sounds like
you
it.
Can't take care of yourself. Her and my grandfather opened up the doors and allowed us to have a solid foundation where we could sleep, wake up, go to school.
Baron Davis is our guest. When did you know you had a chance to play on the next level? Was it high school? Was it college early? When did you say that I can get to where I want to be by being a professional athlete and being an NBA player?
It was high school. I would go up to UCLA to watch Magic and the runs every summer from the time I would think I was like 15. I would go watch 16. I was still watching, but then like the Chris Burgesses, Shea Cottons, other people that were getting recruited by UCLA as high school kids, they would be allowed to play. And so I kind of watched from the sidelines until I believe it was my junior year. Magic was playing. I was there watching, and they didn't have enough to like run their daily supply of NBA runs, and so I was led on the court on the 15, and I wound up playing. I played my butt off. I think I may have stole the ball from Magic, but he called a foul.
This was the famous Magic run at UCLA when he was playing those pickup games, on top of being iconic, playing at the Forum and doing this. And the greatest players in the world would try to get in these games.
Every NBA dude, it was guys coming in from overseas. You had to be a name, or if you were a Bruin, you were legacy then. Other than that, you're all-stars, all pros. And then if you're a rookie or you're somebody on the fringe, that's why it was so hard to make it in the NBA.
Yeah.
It was so hard back then because there was just only a few slots. And, think about the guys, all the great college players that never really made it in the league. It was because you had to transform and adapt, right? And establish yourself. And you only had 2 years to do that.
Baron Davis, this is incredible. So you matured as a basketball player at an alarming rate. And then you go high in the draft. I want to fast forward to when you get to Oakland. Now, you talked about the inner city of LA and what was it like getting to Oakland, California that time, playing in Oracle? You're kind of come there kind of as a savior. You're in the absolute prime. You're an elite player. And then what did you do with the fans, the Oakland Raider fans, the fans in Oakland with your deep connections in LA? Because it seemed like the fans and you really had a great relationship.
Yeah, I acclimated to the fans and the energy of the city. Because remember, LA, Oakland, we rivals.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
And like an Oakland dude and an LA dude, they are like oil and water. They're like oil and water. So when I got to the Bay Area, I was like, man, of all the places that they trade me to the Bay Area. They know I'm an LA guy. They know that Oakland and LA, we don't get along. It's a rival. And I'm on the Warriors. Like, how does that make me feel? And, I would say the entire city just embraced me.
Yeah, I remember. I was on the air up
game.
there. Yeah, we talked on the radio up there that you came there, and I think it was like the perfect storm for you.
Yeah.
The style that you were playing, the history of the Warriors. Look at where the Warriors have gone after that with Steph and Clay and all that. I think a lot of fans in the East Bay really respected your ability to come in there and help the city at that time, help in the community, and be a part of that.
Yeah, it was, when I first got there, I always say, Chris Mullin said, "What do you think?" I said, "Man, it looked like a cemetery in here."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're right." He was like, "Why you say that? Nobody's happy. Guys didn't want to come to work. They didn't want to come hoop." And I was like, "Man, I just want to come and hoop if we can just come and hoop every day and just make hooping our daily recipe, then, my first game when I played, there was 17,000 people there. Hey, man, a half standing ovation, but I wasn't expecting that coming from New Orleans, right? Getting traded during the year that I was hurt. It was kind of a down year for me. But by the time my first game to the last week of the season, I built myself up, won NBA Player of the Week for 2 weeks straight. And it was all because, we can't wait to get home, right? We were on the road doing that. It was like, man, we can't wait to get home. 17,000 people. And I would tell guys on the team, man, I just come from New Orleans, bro. We barely getting 6,000 people.
Yeah.
We were so bad in Charlotte. We were good in Charlotte. And at the end of one playoff game, there was 5,500 people. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm coming from 5,000. New Orleans, maybe on a great day, 10,000, maybe it looked like 10,000. But my first game at Golden State is 17,000 people here. And so for me, it was super humbling. I was like, yo, this is the place. If we can turn this around, if we can adapt the spirit and the swag and the music and start incorporating the music and finding the rappers who are from here and bringing them to the games and finding the other athletes who are from here and bringing them back to the games. That was my mission, was to build the Warriors inside the fabric and the community.
Nicely done. As we wrap this up, I had to ask you this question because I know you respect the players before you and after you. But when I saw De'Aaron Fox get $239 million for 4 years.
That's crazy.
Not 10 years. And you played in an era and you got some nice contracts.
Not that.
Not that. When you look at that, because you want to respect the players because you helped build the league and the guys before you built the league. You told that great story about Magic. It's because of the revenue. So the revenue is coming in. The players negotiated to get a piece, half of that revenue. What do you think of the numbers now in the NBA when you see these contracts?
I mean, you would have never thought. I mean, if I would have known the numbers were like this, I'd be playing at 45, 46 to the wheels fall. Hey, Dan Davis is the youngest dude to ever play it. You damn skippy.
Yeah.
I'll go to 50 if I could.
Unreal.
It's unreal. I think it's all fair. I'm not one of those veteran players or older players that are going to get mad. We all got paid at the height of an economy when we were, at the peak of our game.
But Magic and Bird didn't. They got paid.
It's all relative.
It's all relative, right?
It's all relative. It's all, yeah. And if I were to have a hot take, I always feel like no matter where the revenue is, how big the revenue, there should be a bigger pot or a percentage that goes to legacies.
Oh my God,
right?
that is the biggest topic
guys,
in the NFL with the legacy guys.
Yeah, it sucks because these leagues and franchises, they're going to operate every year. It's systematic, but a lot of it is built on the stories, the legacies of players, right? The trials and errors and emotions of players, the ups and downs. And so I just feel like that there is a portion of money. There's a portion of, hey, we should set this aside. So anybody who's legacied for the Golden State Warriors, we don't have to pay for a ticket.
Fair. More,
We shouldn't have to pay for tickets and then get bad seats,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And like not, I feel like if there's a legacy clause kind of gifted in, you'll start seeing better all-star weekends.
I think that one of the things I want you to get out of this weekend now, because you're a member of the family, is when you meet these alumni, these are guys you looked up to, and to understand that they built this building here,
Mhm.
and they played in the 70s and 80s and won Super Bowls, and they played for nothing.
Right.
And they have these health problems now.
Mhm.
And this organization takes care of people and their
Big
alumni.
time.
Hey, final one. I appreciate your generosity. What is your message to Raider Nation and the fans? You have a really unique opportunity. You're going to host a big TV show. There's a lot of content. What message do you want to say to connect with the great fans of Raider Nation?
We just committed. We committed to excellence. We winning together. We're a family. We're a nation. It takes all of us, right? The energy, the positive energy, right? And then for me, for the show, I want to plug in.
Good.
I want people to feel like they can plug in. I want to be approachable. I want the show to be approachable and collaborative with everybody in the community. Because the one thing I am is a Raider fan.
Yeah.
And I'm such a fan that I'm a fan of Brick. I'm a fan of all the bloggers, right?
Yeah.
I'm following everybody, even when, I'm at home in LA trying to see, okay, what did practice look like? I only have you for a reference.
You got Eric Allen
Yeah,
now.
man,
You got Lincoln Kennedy.
Yeah,
you got Kurt Morris.
Yeah, I got some legends now.
And that's how I get a lot of my information, Baron. I get a lot of my information from asking other people
Right.
and fans.
Yeah.
There are fans that are in this organization.
They're locked in.
Not only are they locked, they're locked in and they have a history of knowing things that we don't know.
Totally.
And really reach out to them. Hey, great to see
Thank
you,
you.
man.
I
I really
appreciate
appreciate you doing this.
I'm
And
excited.
anything I could do to help you up here in Vegas, because I don't want to say I'm the OG, but I've been in
Yeah,
Vegas
yeah,
a long
you're the
time, man.
Look, you got to set me up now.
I got the hookups. Everybody knows. We'll figure it out. When we come back, the Hall of Famer, Eric Allen. How does that sound?
Incredible.
Eric Allen's going to join us next as we wrap up the show. We want to thank everybody who's joining us today. Baron Davis, all of his information on the show when it launches, where you're going to be able to find it is at Raiders.com and the Raiders mobile app. Die-hard Raider fan now, part of our programming in Silver and Black Productions. We'll wrap it up on the other side. Oh, that was good, man. Thanks for that hooping story with Magic, man. Because you hear about them. Yeah.
Hang on. We're gonna snag a photo.
I'll jump in here with you. That was really good.
I know.
Anytime, man.
Because man, I hope warm to death.
Thank you. I haven't met you.
Cardi.
JT.
So
Pleasure.
nice to meet you,
Pleasure.
JT.
My pleasure.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
You're going into the our history of the game Hall of Fame for basketball too.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just met the guy from Cal High Sports too.
Okay, good. That's great. Well,
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about on
Okay.
game day.
Yes, sir.
And tailgating and the black hole.
Let's
and
do it.
reconnecting with everyone. It's gonna be great.
All right.
See you guys tonight.
Tonight.
You got it. Thanks, man. Wow. Hey, dude, this show is wild today. Really good. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, that was really good.
JT, great guest today. Great guest today.
If he wasn't picking up the tab tonight, I would have took you out to dinner tonight for all this, man. Wow.
Oh, man.
Aaron Davis.
Yeah. You did his high school games?
No, I didn't. But I covered him in
Headshot
Oakland.
After.
Yeah, I'm ready. I got to roll really quick, so I'll do that right
It'll
after.
be quick. It's right next to Marcus's office.
Yep, got it. When he came to Oakland and played for the Warriors, I had a section because they couldn't get anybody to go to the game, so they had the brick section. So it's like giving me tickets on the radio for free. And he was like, I remember, man, you were up there and they had little bricks. And I'm like, yeah, we're trying to get people in the seats. And now they got people in the seats.
Awesome.
All right, what are we hitting on today? Well, you were busy streaming.
Yeah, we had Link, Spy Tech.
Well, how was that?
It was really good. Really
I'm gonna
good.
ask you about that then.
Yeah,
Good.
really good.
Good.
Chip keeps giving. He's like he talks to Brady all the time. yeah, man, great as a baby. And I think he was gone because I was looking for him too.
Oh, I thought he was going to stay a lot. So
Yeah,
no
me
big
too.
deal.
Yeah.
Cool. What else? Gotta get this offensive line push.
Yeah. It's if we're gonna try and be who we want to be, we gotta find a way to get some push and.
Yep. All right. We'll keep you quick here, man, because I'm getting out of here.
Okay.
You got it. Man, Barron, he was talking, and we'll start off with this. He played in the legendary hoop games with Magic at UCLA.
Oh, at UCLA.
15 years old. They let him on. That's how he got to
my
UCLA. They were watching him play 15, 16.
Oh,
He's
my
hooping it up in
goodness.
Magic. They're like, we need another player.
Oh, my
Bringing him in. And like,
Yeah.
thanks,
Yeah,
Mike.
Because I got a meeting at 2, so
Appreciate
we'll
it.
talk tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, we'll have some notes for you tomorrow. Too.
Okay.
And I'll have a board for you as well.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Magic's hooping.
Wow. Because we heard about those games all the
He
time.
just talked about the players who were playing.
Oh my goodness, just incredible.
He's a kid from LA and he's getting up and down the court 15, 16.
Yeah.
Wow.
With those dudes.
Yeah. All right.
Were you nice at basketball? Yeah.
I wasn't good in high school.
Okay.
He's better now.
I'm better
He's better now than he
I-
was.
Okay.
I could just run and dunk, so everybody,
Yeah, you just have the hips and
but I
everything.
was, but
Not so many handles then.
no, none of that stuff.
You were made to play football. Then.
Baseball, I was pretty
Oh,
good at
baseball?
baseball. Yeah, I was pretty good at baseball.
Oh my God. Angels sweep the Dodgers and
I
the Padres
know.
sweep the Giants.
I see the
Yes.
Padres sweep the Giants.
Yes.
Woo.
First time since like the beginning of the season that the Dodgers are not in first place.
God, that was my favorite question of the day. Pete Carroll talking about the Grateful Dead at the Fillmore. When you think you're going to have a deep dive on football, this is one of our epic shows we've done today. This lineup's been great, and I get to wrap it up with the Hall of Famer, Eric Allen. We were just talking about Baron Davis, who walked out in those legendary games with Magic Johnson
Wow.
at UCLA, and you're a big hoop fan, and you
Yes.
remember those years.
Well, obviously, Magic Johnson, the Lakers are my team. I'm rocking my Laker colors today because of Barron, because I knew I was going to get interviewed by him. So I wanted him to just let him know, I'm a Laker fan, right? It doesn't matter. But yeah, we all in Southern California always heard about those great runs up there. And I didn't know anybody was invited, from San Diego. But yeah, that was just a tremendous thing that Magic did at UCLA.
All right, so before we get to football, the fact that the Dodgers have lost 3 in Anaheim.
Yes.
0-6 this year against the Angels.
Right.
And the Padres went up in the Bay in San Francisco and just took out the Giants. The Giants are kaboom done.
Right.
Padres are rolling right now.
Really rolling. Of course, the trade deadline came. They got some really key players to help in the bullpen. And then they just been hitting really well right now. I think at the All-Star break, I think they were saying Tatis had made plans to go on a little mini trip to kind of get refreshed. All of a sudden, he's in the All-Star game. And since then, he has really played a lot better. We had a great opportunity to throw out the first pitch. I did. And
was that before the Hall of Fame?
That was before the Hall of Fame. And I just remember looking at all the players. Those are some big dudes. Yeah. Tatis is a big dude, JT. Yes. Man, he's like a safety, 6'2", 6'3". Manny's kind of carved up, but really liking the way the Pods are playing right now.
I knew this was big. I spent a lot of time in San Diego, and my buddies live in the Gas Lamp. And the other night they won when they tied the Dodgers in the standings, and there was a rally in the Gas Lamp. I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. This is August, man. That's something you'd see in October.
They are ready.
You living down in San Diego, this is a real push for the Padres there, and a hungry fan base that doesn't want to be the little brothers to the Dodgers anymore.
And they have been. The playoff run, I think it was 2 years ago that we beat them. I mean, we were electric. Everyone's showing up at the games. Of course, we have one of the best ballparks in all of baseball
For sure.
being at Petco. But obviously, it's the only pro team we have now since the other team had left. So I think right now, Padre fans are really excited, and they understand that this owner who passed away last year, he wanted a winner. And this baseball team right now is poised to continue to play well, but we just need to find a way pitching wise in the playoffs to have some strong innings from our starters, so the bullpen can continue to pitch at a really high level.
All right, Eric Allen joins us. Give us the John Spytek interview today with Amber. What were your takeaways with his mindset heading into week 2, the second preseason game?
Yeah, really good. The one thing that the question I really want to, are you surprised by anything, being that this is your first time? So you see players, you evaluate them, and then they're in the first game. And were you surprised by any of the vets, and of course, Jamal Adams kind of jumped off the radar from everyone right now. But I just like his process. He was really in tune to what Pete is trying to do, and they're all on the same page. And it's really about accountability, the ability to adjust to your players, to the situation. That's the one thing, JT, that I think has carried through. We hear a lot about the competition stuff, and yeah, that's great. But I think the one thing that I continue to hear that is something that we can really put your hands around is being able to adapt, meaning I have to adapt to my players who are on the roster. I have to be able to allow my coaching staff to adapt to the scheme that we're trying to implement, either preseason or regular season. And so I think all that is tied into what this team wants to be. They want to be a physical presence, right? I think that's the one thing that he also alluded to. We have to be able to run the football to set everything else up. And he wants to concentrate on the middle of the offensive line. We need to have some strength. We need to have some command there in the middle. Every time a Raider team is good, you can point to the offensive line. Now, I understand the last, Rich was MVP, Blitnikoff, but every time a Raider team is really good, you can point to the offensive line, and they're powerful, they're nasty. And I think that's kind of what John wants to get to, is an offensive line that can set everything else up.
How are we going to see that? I mean, are we going to see that in the preseason game? Because if we don't, we're going into New England, and Vrabel is an animal, and he's going to have those guys trying to go downhill. I agree with you. It's a huge topic on my show, is that when you put a center that has really no background of playing center and you move a center to right guard, you better be right. And I think they are right, because this is Pete Carroll, and they're looking at this and they're convinced. It looks to me that Jackson Powers-Johnson will be a better right guard than a center when it comes to the scenario that they have there. I think Raider fans got to trust this process until it doesn't work and they have to change it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think measurables, when you start looking at the measurables at what you want at guard opposed to center and tackle, right? Usually the tackle, really long arms, kind of like a dancing bear. A center is like a combination guy, but you want him to have that great ability to have energy on the snap and be able to get that hand back up. And I think JPJ is more of a guard because of his mentality. Last year, I think he had maybe 14 or 15 penalties, right? We got to limit those penalties. But a lot of those penalties were about him downfield, clearing off the blockers, just kind of going full speed. And I think that's the kind of energy maybe you want at guard. That's why they played so much during that first preseason game, right? They just weren't one series and out. They really want to find out if that's the combination that's going to work for this football team.
So last one on football, when you see the Raiders in a big game and it's a struggle, it's 17-all in the fourth quarter, and they need a bailout play on 3rd and 5. Is it going to be Brock? Because Trey Tucker is getting open deep. I mean, they better take deep shots with him early. How many times have I told you in the first half, throw 2 deep or 1 deep a half just to let them know we're there? You see what Trey Tucker's doing at this camp?
Yeah.
They're throwing deep balls to him, and he's catching it. You got Brock, you got Jacoby coming across the middle of the field, and then you got Dante Thornton and Jack Bash, who I think can get down in windows and pick up easy first downs for Geno Smith. Is that fair?
I think so. Thornton is, I mean, he had a play in a game that he had his guy beat by 5 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, consistently, he was taking the top off of the defense. So I think we do have that deep threat there to be able to attack football teams, which is critically important. But when you get down to a 3rd and 5 situation and we're in a game against an AFC West opponent, the first thing has to be, what are you doing defensively to take away Brock Bowers? And then we will adjust accordingly. If you're going to try and man-to-man Brock Bowers, we're going to go at Brock all day. If you're going to double him, now someone else is going to have to be able to win that battles. And that's why, and I hope I'm not giving anything out, but I would like to see Jacoby more in the slot to take advantage of that 3rd or 4th cover guy who's going to. So if I have Brock in the game and you're trying to cover him with your best cornerback, the second best cornerback will probably be outside. Now you're talking your number 3 best cover person on someone who didn't drop a ball last year in Jacoby Myers. So now the matchups start to make sense and we can take advantage of.
Well, lastly, we got a minute here. I know when you go downstairs and you get your gear to go, now you got the Eric Allen gear. I got your gear right in front. Man.
They do,
so
man.
I know your son's
It's
going to want
crazy,
some
man.
new gear.
It's awesome.
It's sunk in, has it or not?
It really, it's still, because, right from the Hall of Fame, JT, basically, I went to our preseason game.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the airplane and I'm in the airport and people are like, hey, congratulations. And I'm honestly at night, sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, man, this is crazy right now. I'm in here.
And it's just been weeks. It's not like it's been years.
Yes. And just so many phone calls and people reaching out still from the Hall of Fame and players. It was just an incredible week that I'll never, ever forget.
Isaiah, great job today. I want to thank Bobby back there, Alexandra, everybody here, all the bricklayers on YouTube. I think we broke a record today with everybody we got streaming this show, which is fantastic. Big night tonight on Marcus's tab. We got our media dinner here in Vegas. We're going to have a big night. Thanks to everybody who's listening to the show. We got a big show lined up tomorrow, and we're excited, man. The Raiders are going to be taking on the Niners. It's alumni weekend. So over 200 alumni are going to be here. We'll tell you all about that tomorrow on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Thank you. All right, man. Great. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. You were great. Thank you, streamers. You're unbelievable. Thank you. There you go. Perfect.
Let's go.
Wow. Good stuff.